Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here then hi, my name is Miss Paris and on my channel you can find tips, advice and information about teaching as well as following my own personal journey. So if that's something that interests you, do consider checking out some of my other videos and also subscribing. So today the scenario is another car video, but I am so early at school I have found the time to fit a little video in, so I feel like I'm acing today. I just wanted to talk about assignments briefly. I was editing an assignment yesterday, and I just wanted to come on and kind of gather my thoughts about all the assignments that I've edited so far and just talk to you about some like common mistakes that I've been seeing, or you know, things that could be improved on to get that extra mark. So the first thing I have noticed is that a lot of people, even when it's not like a reflective piece or they haven't been asked to, put their own opinion in. So unless you have been asked to, or it's one of those videos where you are basing an opinion on studies that you have found, so it's kind of like a debate, try and avoid, or actually don't put any of your own opinions in. And if you do put opinions in, so like you're making a statement, make sure it's backed up by some evidence, or make sure it's based on some research. I see a lot of people just doing it based on their practice or what they've observed, and they're just stating this as fact. It doesn't add any weight or value to your essay because obviously it's based on your opinion. They want research, they want objective facts that are, you know, based on studies and trials and all those kind of joyful things. So make sure you don't include this because it's just a waste of words, and potentially it could just be something that they comment on and being like, based on what proof do you have of this? The second thing is kind of making a point and then not expanding on it. So let's say your essay is about the effectiveness of plenaries in, you know, your lesson. And so you could just say something like, of course this is, you know, a really brief example, really simple, and plenaries are useful for assessments. And then you move on to the next point. Well, hang on, pause, explain what you mean by this. What do you mean a form of assessment? Like, and how, again, linking to the effectiveness of a lesson, how can making a plenary then support you in the effectiveness of your next lesson? So you could talk about how, because it's good for assessment, based on said research, it is useful to plan the next steps for the next lesson. Or because this is an effective use of, you know, time and it's a really good form of assessment, it allows me to bridge future gaps in their knowledge, or it allows me to, you know, create more adaptive teaching for the next lesson because I can put a group of children who didn't understand this part or a group of children who didn't understand that part, and every single time you are linking it back to this effectiveness of a lesson, to the impact it has on pupil progress. And a lot of people will just put like a point, maybe with some evidence at the end just in brackets, and that's it, they'll leave it at that. You always need to make sure that things link back to your question. Just realised this is straining my back. It's like, hang on, readjusting, excuse me. The third thing I would say is that there's a lot of filler content. Now, when you're first writing your essay and you think, oh my gosh, I have 3,000 words, 10,000 words to write, I'm going to start writing really formally, and kind of you end up putting a bit of jargon in, which is fine, but then there's a lot of filler content. And a lot of the time when you're reading this in hindsight, or, you know, I'm reading it for somebody who has just stared at this piece of like writing so many times, when I see it from a fresh perspective, I'm like, wow, you could make this whole paragraph way more concise. You could turn these 16 lines into about 8 if you tried. And so I think sometimes we lose that in the pressure of trying to get enough of a word count. So really just be concise in your language. And I know this sounds silly, but go back to Peel in secondary school, you know, point, evidence, explain, and then link. That is such a good structure for your essay. Honestly, like, it's foolproof. As long as you go with that, then you will be fine. You will avoid unnecessary like talking and things like that, but you will also avoid the point that I said earlier about just making a point and then not having anything else with it. Another thing I would say is sometimes very easy to see people's opinion in an essay. Now, if they are asking you to critically discuss, critically evaluate, and you are of a said opinion, it's very easy, it's called a confirmation bias, to just put evidence in that supports your opinion, or to not be able to see any evidence that contradicts it. But remember, they're asking you to have like pros and cons, advantages, disadvantages, weaknesses, strengths of an approach, of a theory, whatever your essay is. it's really important to do this and not just have like a huge chunk on strengths and then like a teeny tiny one on weaknesses, because you know that's what the essay is asking you. It has to be balanced and you have to evaluate both. Another thing that I have noticed in the conclusion, now I have heard mixed things about this, so this might be a controversial one, but in conclusions I have seen some people add a whole new point in their conclusion. Now this often isn't the case. The conclusion is normally a summary of everything that you have mentioned, a summary of the literature, the research that you have looked into. You are concluding, again it depends on what they're asking you, but you might have to conclude your opinion based on all the advantages, disadvantages, research that you have gone into, or you might be just concluding your main points at the bottom. Because you know, when you are researching something, at least this is what I do as like a shortcut, I always look at the abstract and the conclusion to see if the research would be useful for me. Now if they're reading your thing, or let's say one day it gets published, that kind of thing, they want to be able to see what your essay is about and what you have concluded in your conclusion. You know, they don't want to suddenly see one random point and be like, oh hang on, do I need to read the rest of it just to see what they thought? You see what I mean? You see where I'm going with this? It's really important. So concise, peel. Conclusion needs to be strong. And also in your introduction, unless they say start with today I will be talking about, or my essay will detail blah blah blah, try and avoid this. You want to go in with a bang introduction based on research. You want to really start off powerfully, and then also, you know, involve that research that you've been looking at. So I know this is really brief, but it was just some thoughts that were like crammed into my head, so I just thought I would get them out before school starts. I hope you all have a great day. Sorry for the lack of videos recently. Life has just been a bit hectic, but you know how it goes. Yes, I hope you all have a good rest of the week or weekend, and don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, all those lovely things if you found this useful, because you know it really does help me out. If you are interested in me editing any of your assignments, anything like that, I will leave details to my services down below, and I will see you later. Bye!